Hello, assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound and healthy. And it is 4:55 p.m. It is still the 5th of October 2025, and everybody's dealing with the aftermath of the storm. Strangely enough, actually, it seems only we're dealing with the aftermath, because over here, as I said, it didn't even rain properly. It was mostly the rumbling and the droning and the wind, the incessant wind. And obviously trees have fallen, damage has occurred a lot in lots of places in Lahore. But again, very surprisingly, although almost everywhere else in Lahore the electricity, the power is restored, but only where we live it's been more than 12 hours. More than 12 hours and electricity hasn't been restored. And they've got this new excuse now of always blaming the trees, since the flooding and the heavy monsoons and all that caused the trees to fall, or branches of trees actually to fall and entangle themselves and all. Now they're like, okay, every single time it rains or every single time there's the wind, the howling, we'll just blame the trees. Like, seriously? Most of our lines, actually where we live, most of the power lines are not even anywhere near the vicinity of trees. I mean, not in the way where you would have a tree branch fall and break the lines. No. So yeah, actually, since this management has come in our society, since this management has come, we have had the worst kind and the most frequent issues with power, be it in the form of power outages, be it in the form of extreme arcing due to extreme intermittent voltages, due to extreme high-low voltages, due to unstable voltages. You name it, and we're having it. Not to mention the exploding transformers. Yes, the amount of exploding transformers we've had within these few months alone, you could put the whole 10 years, just put all 10 years together, and that's how much we've had literally within these few months. So nobody knows what the frack is going on, but here we are. And you know what? The thing is, as I've said before, that it's not just that now you can actually openly say that it's not just Pakistan, but the whole world is now falling to this level. Now the whole world is at the same level of as Pakistan, but again, the only difference is where in Pakistan they have completely obliterated our constitution, our system, or any whatever of a broken system we did have. It's been rendered non-existent. But remember, another thing that I said, which will lead to my next sentence, another thing that I had said previously many times, was that whatever America and Europe have been doing to other countries was basically an exercise for them to perfect it, and then they will turn on their own people. Remember, I said that once. And now it's happening. As you can see, look at the riots that have been going on in Italy every now and then. Look at the France situation. Look at Holland, Netherlands, some place that you would never have imagined. Why? Because they've realized that their government is going against their policies and their norms while siding with the Israelis, and how they've allowed the Israelis to go and cause disruption in the Netherlands, and yet they attacked their own people. The government used the police to push against their own people and protect the violent foreigners that were the Israelis. So that added to it. And then now in America, as I said, America was basically bankrupt. I don't know why the people have always called America the richest country in the world, and people have always referred to America as the most powerful country in the world. As I said, yes, if you're talking about being a part of the global mafia and being the right-hand man of Britain, so in other words, it is your visible dawn of the global mafia, then yes, it is the most powerful country in the world, I guess. But Americans, you really need to get your heads out of your butts. Seriously. You need to realize that America is not a great force, and it is not a great country, and it is definitely not a free country, and it definitely, because of that, does not represent the free world. If anything, it has been working towards the recolonization goal, because it has been working under the British even till date. Okay. And so now you've seen that America is behaving exactly the same way that it has made our governments, our law enforcement agencies, our military agencies to behave against us. So America thinks that it has perfected it now and can use it against its own people. So the speech that Trump gave to his army saying that, oh, we can use our own dangerous cities as a testing ground to give you that much needed experience that we need from you at this point. And the army is like, oh, it's illegal. But one should ask the American army, so was it legal for you to go into other countries that had nothing to do whatsoever with you and occupy them and steal from them and kill them and commit genocide? That was okay for you. So, but it's not okay for you to do it to your own people. Amazing. Well, at least maybe you are better in your double standards than our army. Or should I say that you're worse, because our army has no such double standards. Our army is like, yeah, so if we can do it to our own people, so we can do it to anybody else. We can do it to anybody else. We can do it to our own people. Here you go. So yeah, American army at its worst or at its best, you decide. And again, censorship, media censorship. Once again, I've said this many times. Do not consider the European media or the American media, the standard mainstream media, as free. It never was. But now they're actually doing the same thing that they have encouraged the Indian government to do for a long time in India. And now this illegal government that they have placed on top of our heads in Pakistan, they have, as you see, they have been using it shamelessly as their tools. So censorship, massive scale censorship in the mainstream media by the American government, not showing the people the amount of chaos, the amount of protests going on in the streets, the way the police is being used brutally against the people protesting once again. And this time it's not Black Lives Matter, please. It's all Americans here, and the police is basically doing a lathi charge basically on them, or brutally pushing them back in much the same way as they have been making our police do to us. As I said, whatever your government is doing to other countries, it will come back to you. And this is global karma if you look at it one way. And in another way, as I said, it was obviously something that was going to happen anyway, because what makes you think that your government has spent decades financing other governments, other military outfits, other law enforcement and intelligence agencies and outfits to use them against their own people? What on earth made you think that you're safe, that it wouldn't come back to you? So the way ICE is cracking down on the brown, black, the Latino Americans, the Mexicans, it doesn't matter which, as long as you're not white. So they're being pulled without a warrant, they're being illegally arrested and detained. It's much the same as, again, which you people endorsed. You the Americans, endorsed this when they used such illegal and extreme measures, when your home office, basically, should I say, used such extreme measures against the Muslims. And this is how they sent their army, and this is how they sent ICE, and this is how they used all their forces available to humiliate, torture, illegally detain, and just smack anybody with the label terrorist, or with the label that Muslim equals terrorist. And they detained many students illegally, many of whom were from Pakistan at that time. And again, who facilitated this? President Bush. How did he facilitate it? Remember, I keep on and on telling you, if you want to know who is behind what, look at the beneficiary. Who benefited the most from the 9/11 charade? Certainly not the Muslims. Who benefited the most? Certainly not Pakistan. Pakistan was actually dragged into this whole caboodle when we had nothing whatsoever to do with 9/11. Because here's the irony. You were blaming the Arabs for the 9/11 thing, but you never touched a single Arab country. You didn't. You blamed Saudi Arabia, to be exact. You decided to use Saudi Arabia as a scapegoat. The fact that you didn't even touch Saudi in itself questions the whole conspiracy here behind it. It questions the whole concept behind it, that okay, hang on, if Saudi Arabia was supposed to be behind it, why is it that Saudi Arabia is quiet and sort of agreeing, as in it's allowing the American government to throw it under the bus? Why? Because it was a deal made that okay, we're going to do this, we're going to blame you, but we're not going to do anything to you because our target is actually so, and we need to drag Pakistan into our wars, because that is the whole reason we allianced ourselves with Pakistan, is so that we can use them in any wars that we need to conduct in Asia especially. And so, hey presto, Saudi remains untouched, the whole Gulf remains untouched. Where do they go? They go straight to Afghanistan, and then they come to Pakistan, and they use Pakistan, and they use Afghanistan, and then they go to Morocco, and then they use all the black sites. They create black sites, and then they use all these black sites to detain all their so-called Muslim terrorists. And it is one of those black sites in Afghanistan that they detained the grey lady, the unknown Pakistani woman who they had decided to quietly just, because they had a deal with our army at that point, and they were working with her husband, I guess. The whole story was that they were actually working with her husband, and because her husband was angry that she wanted a divorce from him, so he decided to use her. And, as a tool, where he could work with the CIA and the Pakistani army. And at the end, what happened? It's not like he got custody of his kids. He lost his kids anyway. So what did he think that he was doing there? I don't know. Nobody knows. So here we are. Again, who benefited the most from the 9/11 charade? America, the American government. They waged wars based off of that, and then they sold weapons, they demolished cities, and they demolished important infrastructures and buildings and educational centers and hospitals. So they basically attacked civilians. They didn't go and attack the people that they thought. No, they went and they attacked the civilians, just like how Israel's been doing, and everybody's been applauding. So they went and attacked innocent civilians. They attacked their infrastructure. They especially attacked both the most important structures, and that is the educational structures and the healthcare structures. And they obliterated these two systems. And then they sent American companies or European companies with whom they had deals to get the tender to rebuild these structures. They actually tried to do that in Pakistan, Swat as well, when they created that whole false narrative about education of girls in Swat. You do realize that Swat has always had 100% female education rate, even before Pakistan ever came into being. Most of our northern areas actually do have the highest literacy rate and the highest female literacy rate. And Swat was always known as one of those areas that has always had 100% literacy rate, female and male. And yet they created this whole Malala Yousafzai stuff and this and that. And you know why she was actually not liked by majority people in Pakistan? Because majority people in Pakistan were aware of the fact that her father used her, in this whole charade, just because he wanted to work with the CIA as a contractor to create some American schools there that were supposed to be schools that nobody could even afford in the first place. And they were not, they were not going to be according to our constitution, which says that, educations and healthcare, they have some certain limitations and restrictions so that they do not become 100% commercialized, which is what America has already done to its own people, that it has commercialized healthcare and it has all but obliterated its educational system. So it tried to make a sort of a business, and not just a business, because that American school that they were going to build in Swat, they were going to use it again for CIA's covert operations as well. And so the local people were actually not even happy about it. And when Malala's father failed to get approval from the local people and from the local body or authority and from the local government, that is when this whole thing happened. So the people are not impressed, It's not about, and in fact, if anything, the people are even more angry that this man actually allowed his daughter to go through all this shit just because he wanted to work with the Americans just to make money. Seriously. And his daughter was the one who, in the obviously, well, he secured one of the basic dealings was that he would secure, if nothing else, at least an American immigration, and he got that. So as you can see, they promised their American assets these kind of things, whether they fail or not. Although they failed to deliver most times in Afghanistan, where they failed to deliver in their promises with the Afghani assets. And also the assets came out to be completely useless, in the sense that they couldn't fulfill whatever it is that they wanted them to fulfill, and America still failed to fully occupy Afghanistan. Just like how America completely failed to fully infiltrate Pakistan. Although they infiltrated, as we know. Remember Blackwater? Yeah, they infiltrated all right. But I guess the way they were hoping to, they couldn't. Especially when Imran Khan came into action, and as the provincial government, when he took steps against NATO supply routes and everything, which was a very, very, very good way to cripple them. So, and that is why they've actually had their problems with Imran Khan, that, we cannot afford to have somebody here who can, fight us. We need puppets. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is that don't think that Pakistan is the only place in turmoil, but we are going to pay for our silence, and this is our begharti. Our silence is our begharti. We are going to pay for our 70 plus years of allowing corruption to deeply infiltrate within our bones, that now we do not even know the meaning of honesty, and we do not know the meaning of hard work, and we do not know the meaning of dignity and self-respect in any case. And now, not only are we going to pay heavily, but glad to say the Americans are going to pay very, very heavily too, for their ignorance, their lack of education, their lack of awareness, and the fact that they always seem to wake up after the damage is done, which is again and again something I've talked about, where I've seen this pattern where the British and the Americans, they first allow their governments to wreak havoc all over the world, and then they go up and say, we're so sorry, we're so sorry. Yeah, sorry doesn't bring a dead man alive. And you have killed thousands, if not millions, of people till date. Okay? Your governments have killed innocents in the number of thousands, if not millions, till date. Okay, your governments instigated and funded and participated in all the genocides that occurred all over the world, in case you didn't know that, from Bosnia to Palestine. In fact, they even supported Myanmar in their brutal genocidal behavior towards their the Rogni ethnic clans or tribes, you can say. And then, but they actually have the gall to sit and talk about how China has been behaving has been behaving in a cruel and torturous manner towards, or they have been, overstepping their boundaries when it comes to the Muslims that are residing in China, right? So they actually have the gall to talk about how China is behaving towards their Muslim-dominated areas, and how they are behaving towards the Muslim people, and how they are detaining them illegally and they're torturing them and this and that. But you're not going to want to talk about how you have been funding and physically being participating in the genocide that is going on in Palestine, and you again have been a part of the ongoing attempts of ethnic cleansing in occupied Kashmir in India, and that even now the fact that our army had the guts to create a very, very bad precedence of touching our people, and then going forward and trying to touch the people of Kashmir, again, under whose encouragement, endorsement? The American government, the American army, the American CIA. And then you're thinking that, in America we are having as I said, what comes around goes around. America has yet to face a lot. Already they're facing food contamination as well. The government has shut down. This is the second time that the government has shut down. As you know, even last time when Trump was president, the government had shut down. And this time they're saying that it could actually, before I think it was restored in 48 to 72 hours, but this time they're saying that it could even go up to weeks, because this time the opposition is not backed into any corner, and they don't need to meet any conditions, and they are not the ones in despair, but it is the ruling party that now is backed into a corner, and they're the ones who now need to meet certain conditions and demands. But again, as I said, America is in a very dark place, and it's in a very bad place. First of all, this in itself should expose the false narrative that America is one of the richest countries in the world. Okay? Because America was long bankrupted. The minute you heard years ago that America owes China billions and billions in debts, you should have understood where America actually stood financially. You think America is the richest country on earth? No. Your government is illegally making money for its black operational outfits to finance all those operations all over the world. Same as the British government, okay? These governments are making, and how are they making money? Through drug trafficking, through human smuggling, okay? I'm sorry to say that even child pornography is part of it, especially in the American government. They are the people who are involved in all of these financing rackets, and then you have your arms dealing. So again, tell me, how is it that America is the greatest country? America, as I said, is the dawn of the global mafia. America, and then behind it is the sneaky ass Britain that is pretending. Britain is to America what I refer to as a desi man is to a woman. You know how you must have noticed how desi men have this thing. The men of the subcontinent, especially our country, they have this thing, which I think it's a westernized thing that they've taken from somewhere. They're very good at taking all the bad things from the West, by the way, never the good things, but only the bad things. And so one of the things that they seem to have delighted in using from the West is they always push their women to the front lines. Look at Nawaz Sharif right now. He's twiddling his thumbs at the back, and he has pushed his precious daughter to the front to bear the brunt of everybody's curses, everybody saying that, oh, she's ruined her father. And see, this is the key point, what I'm trying to make. He's sitting there pretending to be all innocent, and he's allowing his daughter, who's actually taking every single step on dictation. She's not doing anything on her own. Mind it. Understand that. This woman has been following a dictation, a script right from the start, right off the bat. And she has been slandered. She's been defamed. People are blaming her for ruining her father's career and reputation. Excuse me, did he even have a reputation? But that is how he has managed to now make a reputation, where people are now going to consider that, oh, you know what, whatever it is, he was 1,000 times better than his daughter. She has now completely effed him. She has effed his career. She's effed his reputation. She's taking him down the drain. She's dragging him down with her. This is what she has to listen to, and she is still following dictation. Okay, here's the biggest example that I think we can give you here. Okay, similarly, we have regularly, in general terms, you will see a lot of times where, okay, let's just take our own society. In our own residential society, members are women. Okay, most of a huge majority of the members of our society are women, and yet whenever you have to vote for people in the management, it's always men. And they have only one woman who is completely useless, to be honest. On a management level, she's completely useless. Her only role is to pacify the women, and so that the women should have somebody to talk to when they get pissed off. And so again, who is pushed to the front lines? The female member of the management is pushed to the front lines to listen to everybody, to bear everybody, while the men are the ones wreaking havoc. They're the ones who are impotent. They're the ones who are inefficient. They're the ones who are unprofessional. They're the ones who are incompetent. They're the ones who are not getting anything done. And why is it that men always want to be in the management? Well, because they are men. Number one, they always think between their legs. They never use the actual brain that God intended them to use. And number two, because men are always looking for worldly gains. Notice that too. If a woman actually comes in into play, she is actually, if a woman claims to volunteer, that is, she is actually volunteering, and it's so much hard work that she'd rather not do it. And that is the thing, they all, the coming into the management of our society is basically volunteering. Yeah, it's referred to as, they're all volunteers. Now again, I questioned them this last time when there was the elections. I said, every single one of you who are so eager to volunteer to be in the management of the society, explain one thing to me. Why are you so eager to volunteer? Is it because you know that you are actually going to reap benefits and you're not going to do anything at the end of the day? Is it because you can see how you can politically benefit financially through corruption, and you will end up being richer than rich, and then you will end up, again, through corruption, selling and buying lands and plots that you're not even supposed to, because every single person in the management before that, they've been doing that, they've been making money like that. And I'm like, so if you were really, really going to volunteer, you know that you will literally not be able, you will be so exhausted that you'll be half dead. So if it was genuinely a volunteer job, nobody would come forward. But the fact that there's so many of you coming forward, despite the fact that actually one of the main conditions that people prefer is that you should be retired, or at least in that position where you don't have any other obstacles or any other liabilities or duties that could become obstacles in your volunteering. So people who are retired, people who are elderly, who have who are free, basically are supposed to be volunteers in the management. But we have these young-assed people who are businessmen, especially now. We get more and more suspicious when you have businessmen, or when you have people who are busy with their own professions, with their careers, with their jobs, and they are dying for you to let them volunteer to become part of the management. So yeah, in Pakistan or in anywhere in the world, if somebody is dying to volunteer for something, then understand that there is no volunteering here. In fact, there is some behind the scenes kickback situation going on. There is some corruption here. There is some money to be made. Otherwise, believe me, nobody would volunteer their services. It's not a thankful job, mind you. Imagine the amount of complaints you have to deal with. Imagine that you have to deal with power outages, you have to deal with faulty lines, you have to deal with upgradations, you have to deal with maintaining a whole society. It's not a joke, right? It's a full-time hassle. And that is why the main condition is you have to be free. You have to be free from all other liabilities, all other worldly responsibilities to be able to manage a society as a volunteer. And I'm air quoting here every time I'm saying volunteer, so please understand that. So here's another example. So they're pushing the one female member of the management to bear the brunt of it all when everybody's pissed off, and they're just quietly sitting in their homes licking their asses. Their own asses. Yeah, that's what men do. Men like dogs. Yeah, they lick their own. Understand? So that is the thing I've noticed. So men are always scapegoating women. They ruin their whole reputation. The woman becomes the bad guy, and then the man comes from behind as the innocent, decent person. And at the end, he actually goes and puts forward that same solution that his wife or his daughter or his mother told him the first time round, that what, don't be an asshole, just go and do this. But no, that time his ego flared and he wanted to be a man, and so he decided to go all around in circles, and then he pushes the woman and says, oh, you say this and you do this and you do this, and you'll see what will happen, and then we'll do this and then we'll do this, and then you tell them this and then you do this and then you do this. And then at the end, when he sees that he has failed, that she has complied and she has proved him wrong, basically he has failed, then he comes from behind wiping his eyes as if he's just woken up from his deep sleep. Innocent lamb, poor thing, poor innocent lamb, naive of all naives, and he doesn't know what's going on. And then he's like, oh, I'm so sorry that she did this, and I'm so sorry, and I promise you I will do. And then, like the great diplomat, he brings the solution, that same solution that same woman who's been backstabbed by him now gave him in the first place. And then now he applies the solution and he becomes the good, decent Sharif Banda, and she becomes the bitch. And it's happening again and again and again and again. You see, okay, let's put it at a very smaller, more human level. You see men in villages just sitting and smoking or going into drugs, and you see the women working the fields, the women working the crops. The women, then when they come to the cities to look for better jobs, again, what are the men doing? Their women are earning and the men are zonked out. But what is it? Man is superior. In the whole world, man is superior. You do realize who made man? Women. Women made man. And I think it's no longer a matter of pride that we made the worst thing ever on earth. We should start doing two things. First, we should just start maybe male infanticide to save the world from a whole lot of crap. Or since we don't have the, our emotional, how do we say it? Our heightened sensitivity because we give life, so we don't like taking life. So then I guess the next best thing we can do is to neuter them, so that they don't go and spread more of themselves. Although obviously they need women to spread more of themselves too. This is how dependent and pathetic men are. But okay, let's just stroke their egos. Let's just stroke their egos and make them think that they're the fucking kings of the world. Yeah, the other day actually there was somebody on Facebook who had posted this thing that, probably somebody shared it with her and she decided to share it. And it was like, men invented this. What did women do? And you know what? A huge majority of the people in the comment section said, they answered the question that what did women invent or what did women make? And they said, well, women made man. Period. But obviously some of us moved on, especially I moved on to give a whole list of how the everyday items that, and the fun part, all the things that men are claimed to have invented, they do nothing for us in real life, in practical life. Have you noticed that? Nothing. They're all specialized gadgets for specialized weird ass stuff, never for actual practical life. But all the practical life things that we're using, from computers to, yes, computers, algorithms of computers, whatever the NASA is using, whatever, where our home CCTV monitors and security alarm systems, windshields on the cars, any and every cleaning item that you can think of to do with cleaning, Monopoly, the game itself, in fact, even some of the most important medication that we use, like antifungal medication and others, they have all been made by women. Even the astrolabe was actually made by a Muslim woman in the 1900s, 1800s, and she was an artisan and an astronomer. And similarly, in the 800s, as we know of the sisters, the Muslim sisters who made the first university in the world, they actually started it from a school. It was a school and education institute, and then it became the first university in the world. So explain again, should we bring out the whole, the whole trunk, the whole list, the list is never ending. But again, to sum it all up, even whatever man did make, one way or the other, he himself was made by a woman. So debate ends right here. So yeah, it is kind of stupid. It's very stupid how we have made man and then we have stroked his ego to make him think that he can accomplish everything. I think women thought that they were being very geniuses. I think they literally thought that they were being geniuses and being very clever by stroking the male ego so that he should be able to do more than half of and make their lives easy. But he only ended up making our lives harder. Yeah, because now what he's decided is that, okay, throw the woman under the bus, let her get the brunt of it all, and then we'll come out like a newborn baby and pretend as if, oh, we're not a part of anything. But it's all you. It's all the man behind it. Again, as I said, please look at Nawaz Sharif right now. He is the best example you can have of the most beghairat man ever on earth, where he's thrown his daughter to, into the front line, and he's making her do all sorts of things. And at the end, he's going to come out as clean as, or should I say, as filthy as a newborn baby. You take your pick. So, yeah. Look at Trump. Look at any place where look at Germany. As long as it had a female leader, it was on the right track. It was a peaceful country. It was once again on the path to being respected. They stood up and they stood out and they spoke out and they spoke up for what was right. They literally called America out 1,000 times. They called Britain out 1,000 times. Germany became a clear force, and people literally told America and Britain and all that, learn from your mistakes, like how Germany has. But now Germany is once again in the hands of a man, and hey presto, Germany's fucked. Seriously, what more can I say? That was also one of the best examples I could give you of what we have here in front of us. So, yeah, don't think that we're going to get away with this. We're not. And Americans, there's more to come. You are going through, again, more or less this, not even more or less, you are going through whatever it is that your government has put all of us through in different parts of the world. And it had to happen. So this is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.